This is Talking with Burritos, the podcast that's giving you something to talk about when you finally find someone you want to talk to, but you really don't like what they have to say. I am Jerry JJ Wayne Graham, and on this podcast episode, sharks. That's basically what it's about. We're going to get into the shark movies recently released. We had a few. Some of them that you know of, and then some of them that you don't know of. Like Sharknado, what is it, 6, 7? Wait, Sharknado 5? I don't know. I think it's the last Sharknado. I think it might be Sharknado 6. And it's about time, which is a fitting saying to this ending, to this actually saga. And also you have the Meg and Deep Blue Sea 2, along with another Megalodon movie. But I didn't actually watch the Megalodon one, but I saw all of the others in preparation for this episode. And I don't know. I just want to talk about how they're getting shark movies wrong. Do we necessarily need shark movies? They're awesome to think about, ever since Jaws sparked our fascination, our imagination about sharks. It's been an ever-going quest to make a decent shark movie better. But the problem is they're just not getting any better. And that's because they're trying too hard to make these movies into something that they don't need to be. Because shark movies are simple. You have fear already based on, just due to the characteristics and things we know about sharks in general, that they're dangerous animals. But you also have another foe at the helm that people fear, and that's the fear of the ocean. And that's basically what it is, fear of the ocean and fear of sharks. That's all you need for a shark movie. And so in this episode, we're going to talk about how a couple of movies have actually succeeded in making a decent shark movie. Why? Because they were simple. Just like Jaws. Simple. Sold the movie. Made it much better. So let's get started with this episode and talk about a few of those things. Thank you guys for listening. Let's get our shark on. But, all right, let's go with sharks. A simple kind of scary. So recently, Warner Brothers, they released The Meg. And as proof that, and this movie is proof that shark movies are not bankable unless you make them silly. What we all misconceive, though, is the simplicity of a good shark movie. Sharks and the ocean. Now, sharks strike fear in the minds of most people's imaginations after, especially if you've ever watched Jaws. As frightening as a creature as they are, sharks are not good subjects for a movie. Why? Because they're quite boring. It's either you eat or be eaten. There are very few plots involving sharks in which to script an original film around. Jaws is the best shark film made. And that was about 40 years ago. You tell the same story over again. But that was about 40 years ago. However, in its succession, there has been, other than the actual Jaws sequels, there have been a couple other films recently that did it just as well as Jaws, just using the simplicity of shark and ocean. Shark, man, ocean. All scary things. So let's start with The Shallows. The Shallows was a great film. Now let's start before that. Let's go with Open Water. I say this is a good film because it was one of those independent movies that really incorporated this element of suspense. So if you watch Jaws, it's all about suspense. And if you don't know the story behind Jaws, it's one of those things where it's a thing where Steven Spielberg and the crew, they could not get this mechanical shark to work for them. They kept having problems with the shark. It was holding back production. So I don't know who, I forgot. Someone had recommended, hey, how about we not show the shark? So during these scenes where there's supposed to be shark in the water and that you maybe would see the shark swimming around, they just would not show the shark. And having this element or making that decision not to show the shark was the best thing because it added an element of suspense to the movie that really captivated our imaginations and our fear of the shark. So what a crazy notion that is. We based it using our imaginations and our fear and our basic, fear of this creature. We were able to imagine just based on exposition and what they were saying and just the way their expressions were conveyed that this was a monstrous creature. And its actions thereof were just taking down swimmers, eating swimmers, and what it did to them in the wake of its visit to this island bay. So it was that intrigue that really caused fear in the minds of all of us, of everyone who watched that movie back in 1976, 1977, which made it a popular hit. I say using that construct, Open Water was a great film. This couple, they're going out on a trip, a scuba diving trip, okay? And they get left. Long story short, they're left in the water with no way to communicate to the boat, no way to get back to the boat. The boat doesn't even know that they're gone. The people on the boat don't even know that they're there. They have them accounted for, but they're actually missing. They're overboard. They're still in the water when this boat leaves. And it leaves this couple, this man and a woman. I think they are married. This married couple just out in the water. And, lo and behold, when you're stuck out there in this ocean, you don't know what's going on. You're wading in the water. Your legs are moving. And they have these incidents of possible shark attacks, where it's always the psychological element just really plagued them in this moment, took over their common sense. It was less about how do we survive. Well, it came to that, but panic set in, and then also the fear that something was attacking them or would attack them. We all know that these people are going to die somehow in this water, in this ocean, this vast ocean. And there's a lot of these shots where they're looking in the far distances. It's like, well, there's nothing out there. There's nothing out there. Nothing out there but on the horizon but water. And that's scary. You don't ever want to be left out in the ocean. It's just that frightening. There's nothing there but water. You have this couple and they're out there, and then it just starts bringing light to their relationship. And I like this movie because there's less about the shark. There's less about the elements around them, but more about them self-destructing, showing their true colors, showing that maybe they're not compatible, or maybe they are, but all of these different things that annoyed them about one another starts coming to light. So that was the brilliance around the script, is that they started just being in this predicament, exposed who they were as people, who they were as a couple. So it was less about the sharks. It was less a shark movie. It's called Open Water for a reason. But then you have the real horror element, because this movie was considered like a horror thriller. You have the real horror, which comes in when certain creatures like these sharks start feeding upon them. They see them, they find them, they sniff them out somehow based on, I think the girl has a cut, and so you have blood in the water. And so you have these creatures attacking them. And also you have the element of being out there in the water, being cold. In the nighttime falls, so the water gets colder. And you have this element of the sharks. So all of these things encompassed made this movie so simple. It was like a lot of dead space, a lot of dead air, a lot of silent moments, and a lot of those suspense moments where it wasn't a jump scare. It was just based on tension built up to that one moment. Tension built up to the girl freaking out because she felt something on her leg. And if you've ever been in water or the ocean or something like that, and you felt something weird on your legs, wherever you are, you could be out in the forest or something, but you feel something weird, and you just, in your mind, your imagination takes over. You think it's the worst thing. And so that was what made that movie successful. Simplicity. It was just had these two people out in the ocean. And then later on, you had sharks. And just like, even with Jaws, you had Hooper and you had the sea captain and the sheriff of the town who's out on the boat. So you have all these different characters. So it became like that. It became a movie about them and how they're relating. And then this boat and this creature attacking them. Moby Dick is about this man just after this animal, but Captain Ahab is talking about his crew, the people on his ship. It was a lot about the characters involved, everyone, not just the shark. Shark doesn't have a personality. You can't think about it. But if you watch Jaws, they're talking about like the man and his crew, him being lost in being shot down in Korea, stranded in the water and having people just knocked off by this swarm of sharks, and they just start eating his comrades. So you have all this exposition that really isn't related to the shark, but related to the characters involved. So another movie that's sort of like that was just man against shark or woman against shark, would be The Shallows. Very simple. This movie did well. Why? Not only because of Blake Lively and how awesome she is, but because it was just a movie about a girl, a woman, who is terrorized by this shark. Unfortunately, she's left out in the ocean. She makes some bad decisions, and something happens. She's stranded out there on a light post, on a floater. She's stranded out there while this shark is just terrorizing her. This shark wants to eat her. There's a beached well nearby, or a well that's been killed by the shark. And it just becomes this story of survival. How will this woman defeat this shark to find her way back onto the beach and maybe seek help? Very simple scenario. And in this one, she has no really anyone to talk to. A couple of people come out to try to attempt to save her. But other than her contact with these islanders beforehand, who would lead her to this remote spot in the ocean, she has no one to talk to. It's just her and this shark is just terrorizing her. So she has to deal with her own subconscious and the idea that she could die, deal with that, and then try to progress forward and defeat this thing and win over the shark and survive. Great movie. Simple plot, right? And also, this other one was sort of like, it happened last year, came out last year, 47 meters deep, or 47 meters. And what was this about? This is about two girls out on a vacation. They get scuba diving on this rickety scuba diver rig, and they're trapped down there. They're stuck down in the ocean, 47 meters deep in the ocean. And lo and behold, what's terrorizing them? A shark. However, what's more at play here is their relationship. What's happening? What's going on between them? How is this going to play out between the two of them based on this thing that's terrorizing them? And they all try to do a little something different with it. Not really necessarily The Shallows, but the 47 meters deep towards the end, they have like a little twist that really kind of throws you off, which was neat. It wasn't too crazy, wasn't too involved, wasn't too overly exciting, but it's so subtle of a change that it really made you like, take a step back and just record like, what was that? So I thought those are pretty cool. Those are 3 different movies where simplicity really plays for the shark movie, and that's what you have to do with shark movies, and just keep it simple. But do we actually need shark movies? I don't necessarily know, because just like I said, they're boring creatures. Other than those things, and if you juxtapose those movies, the simple movies, with something like a Sharknado or a Meg, these things are just overwrought with crazy, insane, imaginative ways to make sharks scarier, to make sharks less believable, to make the fear of the shark less believable. And it's all about, the Crazy Shark movie, Meg. But Meg was actually formatted for this. And a lot of them are formatted for this because, a lot of simplicity sometimes doesn't sell as well as just making a silly movie for people to watch. And that's what the Meg was. Meg was an entertaining movie, a movie made for entertainment. If you don't know what the Meg is, it's a movie based on a prehistoric shark that existed, during the times of the dinosaur, which would mean henceforth Me using the adjective or description of prehistoric shark, the megalodon. So it's supposed to be this like 72-foot shark with a bite of like with a bite pressure of like maybe 10 tons or so. They have fossils of this thing, and its teeth are freaking huge. We have these divers. They go down, and they happen to unearth this creature, or this creature follows them out from the deep dark depths of the ocean, which is believable because we don't know what's down there. All kinds of crazy shit is down in the ocean, down below where we can't reach them. James Cameron tried to go down there. He went down there a few times. I think, didn't he surpass the depths of most scientists, like going down that far into the ocean with his submarine? But yeah, he went down there. He did all that. But there's so much other life. I think whenever everything dies on Earth, that's where life will begin again, in my belief. If you ever seen those cartoons where you have that lizard come out of the ocean, boom, 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 and then it evolves into something else, and then later on you have man. I think it's something like that. I think that's what will happen later on. Well, once we further thousands of years down the line, when we kill off this earth, when the earth kills us, whatever, and then we have to evolve again somehow. And I think that's where it comes from, those deep depths of the ocean, where a lot of those creatures, they just live down there and they're untouched by everything, but they find a way, just like life always find a way, just like Jurassic Park. Life always find a way. So I believe that's where in life our next generation or source of life will come from. Because then they will be able to adapt with whatever destruction we've inflicted upon this earth. So you have the Crazy Shark movie, you have the Meg, which was entertaining at that. Jason Statham as a tough, rugged, professional diver taking on a shark. And they also have some crazy ass ridiculous scenes of him just, really going head to head with the shark, which is cool. I thought it was freaking dope. And they did some cool things with this movie too. There's an instance of a shark coming out of water that was rather impressive. And their 3D, their graphics were actually pretty neat in this one. Unlike something I would see that I saw, something else I saw, like I saw Deep Blue Sea 2. If you didn't think that there was a movie, it just released like a month ago on the Sci-Fi Network. Deep Blue Sea 2. And the sequel to Deep Blue Sea, the one with Samuel L. Jackson, had LL Cool J in it, and Thomas Jane. That movie was dope. And what you have in Deep Blue Sea 2 was another movie that kind of took from the first movie and tried to make the same movie with the similar type characters, but they introduced this one thing called shark babies, and that's all I'm about to say. They had babies. There was shark babies, and they were crazy. They were rampant. They were running around, and you had the mother of all sharks there. So it is, it was like everything Deep Blue Sea was, but not really as cool. So that's basically what a lot of that is. It's just taken away. And it's not necessarily we can't make a good shark movie, but I think like a good shark movie is based on either one person, like a Moby Dick story. You have this person against a shark, one person against a shark, or a group of people against a shark. You make it simple. We don't need crazy ass explosion. We don't need scientific gene manipulation. We don't need anything like that to make a successful shark movie. Sharks are scary. The ocean is scary. Put the audience out into the ocean with the shark and see how you survive. That's the fear. That's the intrigue in most of these movies. How will you survive when face to face with death? Period. It makes it entertaining, but yet it allows you to dwell deep inside oneself. And once you do that, you start exposing your nature, your true nature, the true nature of man as versus animal. Because maybe this animal necessarily doesn't see you as you see it. These animals don't know. They know they know we exist, but not in the sense that we know them. We study them. We know what they're made of. They don't know what we are. We look like big old seals. I would say fat seals, but well, hell, sometimes if you look at the beach nowadays, we just look like objects to them. And once they smell us or they think that we're something else, we could become food to them. But in most cases, they don't know what the hell we are. So I think that along with the psyche, our own psychic nature, our own personal psyches, our own minds, imagination, it should become like a Sherlock, not a Sherlock, but an Alfred Hitchcock type movie with sharks. That's what I'm waiting on, an Alfred Hitchcock movie with sharks. And that's what basically Jaws was. He was able to use those suspenseful, that tension, build it enough that when you eventually saw that shark, you were freaked the hell out because you thought it was the biggest thing terrorizing thing ever seen on screen or on earth, period, ever in life. But there's a challenge there. There's a challenge to come away from the extreme ridiculousness of it. And if you ever IMD sharks or just go through shark movies with the Google, you'll see sharks. I saw 3-headed shark. I saw, you have you have sharks like Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus, Mega Shark versus Mecha Shark. That's a robotic shark, people. Attack of Jurassic Park, a shark, which is the Megalodon. Shark Attack 3. You also have the Megalodon movie. There was a Megalodon movie made back in 2002, and recently you have one on Sci-Fi Network released just around the time the Meg was, 2018. And if you know how they work, Shark Hunter, you have all these kind of weird, stupid, I don't know what the hell the 3-headed shark movie is called, but you would think 3-headed shark. But a lot of times Sci-Fi Network, they release a lot of these movies around the time that Hollywood releases a movie. Because why not? Why not play off of that fanfare? I've seen like Fast and Furious movies released around this time, or disaster movies released around the time another disaster movie is released on the big screen. Like some channel would release one of those just to try to feed off of the popularity of the moment for that particular genre of film. I've seen that. And as far as Sci-Fi Network, they were able to do, I don't know why they made Deep Blue Sea 2, because that was just ridiculous. But were there any good things? Okay, here's one of my things. Okay, they have this woman in that movie, and for some odd reason, I told my wife that Jennifer Lopez was actually in Deep Blue Sea, the first movie, and I watched that movie over again recently, like a week ago, and I realized that was not Jennifer Lopez, and that the movie I was thinking of was Anaconda. That's what she was in. But this movie was someone else, and this one lady, she's in Mozart in the Jungle. I don't know her name. But it wasn't Jennifer Lopez, I know that. But so we have this movie. We have Deep Blue Sea 2. And one of these things that really annoyed me about this film, I thought shark babies were cool, but, because shark babies are like baby piranhas. They'll just eat your ass up in this movie. That's what that was. This is trite, but this woman, there was this scene. She puts on this wetsuit, right? She's changing it to the wetsuit, and she zips up. But instead of going fully over her chest area, she stops mid-sternum, so her breasts are exposed. So the rest of this movie, her breasts are exposed in this wetsuit. And I just sat there asking my wife, like, what the hell is the purpose of that? There is no practicality to that. She could have just raised all the way up, lifted, raised that zipper all the way up, and just, instead of it being more practical, instead of letting all that water down into her suit. Like, okay, just zip it up, girl. Zip it up. And I know that was just like, I was like, okay, where is that feminist Me Too moment stuff? Where do we have anyone on set? Anyone on set to call that faux pas? Throw out a flag, like, hey, I don't think that's practical at all. Yeah, okay, she looked good, but, good for her. But she should probably just finish up zipping that, because she's going to dive into the water. Kind of makes sense that she wouldn't want everything else to get wet. Oh, no one, nobody? Okay, cool. All right. Action. Start the scene, because apparently no one cares. I don't know why that bothered me, but it did. It's just like, why wouldn't you just zip up, girl? Just zip up the rest of the way. It's meant to keep water out. You're going to keep it open like that, exposed, water will get in. But was it entertaining enough? No, I would say watch Deep Blue Sea, because actually Deep Blue Sea was a good movie. I don't care what anyone says. It's one of the good action films that, just like The Meg, it was entertaining. Entertaining enough and believable enough that you didn't get lost in ridiculousness. Yeah, in both movies, there was some scenes where that CG just wasn't cutting it right. But the stories were actually halfway decent, especially Deep Blue Sea. Conflicting moralities involved with this. And that's what they tried to do with Deep Blue Sea too. So I just say don't watch that. No, okay, watch that movie because you got shark babies. You gotta like shark babies. But however, if you haven't seen that one, if you haven't seen Deep Blue Sea 2, Deep Blue Sea, then watch Deep Blue Sea 2. Then you'll just basically watch Deep Blue Sea 1. That's the same damn thing. Scientist comes, hey, where's my money being invested? It's being invested here. I'm studying this. Oh, okay. I don't like this. This is unethical. Things like that. So I think when you get a little wrapped up in that exposition, you can really lose yourself in the film, or the plot can really lose itself in its in the construct of the idea and in the scientific nature of it. And that's what's with these films, that they were really based around science. But Deep Blue Sea actually just had, it just kept pace. It kept a good pace, and it kept you intrigued enough to keep watching. Wow, I almost cut out Deep Blue Sea 2 like a few times. But that's that ridiculousness of, the Meg and Deep Blue Sea 2 or Deep Blue Sea. They were both good films, entertaining, because they did what they were meant to do, was entertain. However, they had to insert a little bit ridiculousness and a little bit and more subtext that you maybe didn't need. More explosions, more action scenes to really keep you involved. If you watch The Shallows, you watch 47 Meters Deep, a lot of that was these characters just trying to decide what else to do. And so you have a lot of dead moments. But then, those dead moments, those slow moments, quiet moments will help build the tension up to when, okay, I'm going to go watch Blake Lively try to swim to this big shark to take something out or retrieve something that was lost. So she has to swim across this canal, this body of water, without being attacked by this shark, which is pretty cool because this shark really had it out for her. Just like in Jaws, you never would think that this shark would want to eat them. Like the shark, I don't know who you are. He doesn't know who these people are on this boat, but he knows he wants to take down that boat. He wants the people on the thing on that boat. He wants that boat down. So the same thing with 47, not 47 meters. Well, they just had 47 meters and The Shallows. They just had this shark just in that area, and they're very territorial. So if they sense something is there, sort of like bears, I would say, like they're sea bears. They're bears of the sea. Whereas you play dead, yeah, I'll go away, but I'm not too far away to not notice if you come alive again. So you have those movies, based in simplicity, really great, until The Meg and then Deep Blue Sea. Outrageous movies, yes, however entertaining. But then you get the totally ridiculous movies, like, the Three-Headed Shark movie, or Shark Scientist, or Mecha Shark versus regular shark, or Mega Shark, or just the Megalodon movie. You have those that are based in so much ridiculousness that they really make them not even B+ movies, but like a C, D+ movie where everything is pretty much cheesy. And that's where you go to Sharknado. Sharknado was supposed to last. Now, but kudos for them for making it to part 6. And I believe I stopped watching at 3. But then recently, let's say in the last 2 weeks, I came upon 6. 6 was 6. It's About Time. Sharknado 6 was released. And so I went back and watched 4, 5, and 6. And a lot of this, I'm sitting there on the couch, and my son or somebody would walk by. I'm like, don't even stop. Just keep walking, because this is totally stupid. And most of them would walk by, look at it, and just like, oh my goodness, and just keep walking. And I think my wife sat there for some of it, but You know, it was just totally ridiculous, stupid. But I think they became less fun after the third one because once they went into space, everything got even more ridiculous than they were already. It's sort of like Jason in space. Was it Jason 10? When they took him out into space. That was just stupid. And the same goes for the Sharknado movie. But Sharknado 6, what this movie did, is like they just threw all the kit and caboodles into one basket. It's like, okay, so what they did is they were time traveling. And so in this movie, they went to prehistoric times, and then they went to colonial times. They went to biblical times. They went through all of the different eras of history to just come back, and you realize that they had to do something with time travel. I always found them quite entertaining because they made me laugh, and I thought it was like, okay, this is so stupid. Look at those stupid sharks. But wow, there came a time where it was just, they had all kinds of weird Sharknado sharks, fire sharks. Fire sharks were cool, but then you had ice sharks, and it's just ridiculous. And everyone in that movie looked terrible. And just seeing the evolution of Tara Reid, it's like, okay, that was bad play. That was bad plastic surgery. It's getting better. It's getting better. But then, oh wow, what are they doing? They made robot Tara Reid, and then you have the Planet of the Apes type Tara Reid. Yeah. I liked them because they took from a lot of genres of film. They had Indiana Jones in there. They had Star Wars. They had all these different genres of film that they took from to make this series. And you just have to applaud them for at least trying, for at least keeping it up. Keep doing what they were doing, making silly ass films for everyone for a certain group of people to enjoy. Okay, I'm going to take you guys back to episode 3 of Talking with Burritos, where we thought it was that, these movies like this would kill the Sci-Fi Network, period. Like movies such as, Sharknado would kill it. You had the Sharknado, they had Anaconda 300, Mummy Takes a Rap. I don't know. They had all these different silly movies, and we thought, when we talked about in this episode 3 of Talking with Burritos, called The Improbability of the Sci-Fi Network, we were debating on whether the sci-fi could survive as it is in its current form, where they were coming out with a lot of ridiculous movies. And I think we have been too harping upon the fact that they had some great television shows. They had great TV at that time. They had Battlestar Galactica. They had, Battlestar Galactica. They had what is some of the other ones? Stargate. Those type of shows on there, which did very well for the network. And lo and behold, what really made the network even more successful? It was those original series, those sci-fi series, which really compelled and kept the network viable for future success. It wasn't like the movies like the Megalodon and stuff. And I don't know if they do anything with those movies, if they get a huge audience from those movies. Because they're very cultish. They're very select. But who actually watches these movies besides me? I never know. Like every time I was like, hey, did you see that movie on Sci-Fi? No. Like, all right, cool. I'll just go talk to myself. I'm going to go lock myself in my closet and talk to other people who've seen the movie. But it's those type of movies that we thought would kill the network. But they didn't necessarily. They could still run those movies. And I think because their content, just like anything, if you have more content, people will watch. You have stuff to play. And I think they're just a place for a lot of these DC movies. Not DC movies or CD movies. These D-rated movies or B-rated movies where they have a place to shine. Nowadays, you could do some on Netflix, but even Netflix is a little bit more selective in some of those things. But they do have this movie called Troll, which was pretty cool. It's like a documentary horror movie, like a Blair Witch type thing. You have this camera crew who's going out there and they're trying to investigate this troll phenomenon in Iceland. That's not Iceland, Norwegian. It's in one of those Netherlands. I don't know. It's in one of those Icelandic countries. So that's actually a pretty good one. I would watch that for just like I said, for the suspense of it all. You keep seeing a lot of things, but you don't necessarily see the troll monster until later. But yet the reveal is pretty huge and really captivates you. You have to get around subtitles, but Sci-Fi Network is good for that still, for taking a lot of those movies and showing like old classic horror movies like Tremors and getting those things and showcasing certain movies like Deep Blue Sea 2 or Leprechaun 10,000. But what really carries them are those successful series like Stargate, Battlestar Galactica, the ones like they have now like Expanse, 12 Monkeys, The Magicians, Killjoys, Dark Matter, Farscape. I think that was like a few years ago. Yeah, right now you have Krypton. Didn't really want to give it a look-see because it looked pretty horrible. Winona Earp, that seems to be pretty good. I have a friend who actually watches that, and she follows that show. Actually, she blogs on it too. Just go look for Brianna at 3x Space. 3x3 Space, I think, .com. You also have Jason, not Statham, the guy who played on Law and Order. You have him on a show called Happy. You have Z Nation. And also you have some reality shows as well, like the costume one. They used to have like the dork one. However, the milk and butter of that channel would be, I would say, its original series. And they do have syndication rights on some movies as well that are actually A+ movies that released in the theaters. The probability of the Sci-Fi Network and this was like maybe 3 years ago we talked about it, and they're actually doing rather well, I assume, because since they're still having a lot of greenlit shows come to their network, which are doing well critically amongst those, of that genre. Kudos for them. And if you really want a little fun episode, I might include it here. We'll see. Chris and I, because I asked them the question, like, what does it take to make a sci-fi movie? So we came up with this movie starring Lucy Lawless and Kevin Sorbo called Naked Mole Rats. So you can go to that episode. Actually, I'll probably just play it in here. The network, which is able to play a lot of movies that you don't necessarily see, that you see in the DVD bin in Walmart. Seriously. You might not think that movie existed, but they will show it eventually. You'll have something out there. But they also have a lot of great series that people are currently watching to this day. So they're still thriving, I would say. Now, for me, most of the stuff I don't even watch the Sci-Fi Network that often. Only when I need research on something else, or they have some cool sequel or idea of a sequel that I want to check out. So I'm like one of those that's kind of touch and go with that channel. Let's go to the Fear of the Sea. Okay, and this is going to be my this, that, and other news for this segment. Okay, I have this one. Oh my goodness, this is a horrible scenario. Stingrays. Stingrays suck. Sharks suck too, but stingrays really suck as well. Read this. This is the headline. Boy gets stung by stingray in the willy whacker. That's not exactly what it says. But, boy gets stung in his willy whacker by a stingray. Wow. That sucks. They said he was apparently boogie board and he came off. He was lying down in the sand. He laid down on a dormant or just, a resting stingray, and it shot its barb through his penis. And they say once the paramedics came to the scene, it was still his tentacle, his stingray, his barb was still stuck in this kid's. I think he was more like a young man, still stuck in his penis. That's freaking horrible. But that's just a story I want to introduce this other story to. Well, my daughter, she was out there. She was out in California, and she was driving. I mean, she was on a boogie board, right? And what happens? Like when she descended, when she came upon shore, she was coming upon shore. She steps on a stingray. It gets her in the foot. cuts her up. She's bleeding everywhere. And, next thing you know, baby sharks, come from far and wide because they sense blood in the water, and they chase her onto the shore, and she's like bleeding and everything. But then you have these baby sharks in the water, and it's like, baby shark, do 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 do. No, just kidding. Now I'm about to segue into that stupid ass song every single time. Like, if you guys ever want an earworm, go listen to that episode. But let me go back to my story. Well, my daughter gets stuck by this. They get stung by this stingray, right? She comes home. She cries to us over the phone. We're like, okay, go do this, go do that. And then she goes to the urgent care to go get it checked out. They give her some antibiotics. Our thing is, I don't think she went to the urgent care. No, she didn't. We just said, because she had just recently, this poor child, she had strep throat, right? And then we put her on some medicine. And then she was on vacation. And she went again to go to the emergency room because she wasn't getting better. The medicine was not working. Lo and behold, her body is immune to penicillin now because she's had strep throat so much. So now she can't necessarily remedy her problem with the one antibiotic, the one medicine that usually treats this thing. So she has to go on antibiotics. So during her trip, she gets that medicine. She's taking that medicine. Then on her, last few days there, she gets stung by that stingray. And so she's in pain, which, I've heard these stingray stings are very, very painful. More like almost as painful as a jellyfish attack or sting. So she's sick and she comes home. We're like, well, you're going to be all right. Because the things we read said that, okay, you're going to hurt for a while. You will be in pain for some time. So we're like, okay, cool. And you're already on antibiotics, so you'll be all right. You'll be all right, because you already, being on antibiotics already, for her strep throat. So we thought she'd be okay. A couple weeks pass, and okay, it's not getting better. So, and she happens to open up a wound again, because she slams her foot against the foot of the chair of the couch. She opens up the wound. So my wife thinks, okay, all right, you know what? I'm going to go get her a Band-Aid and I'm going to put it on the Band-Aid because she has to work. And the thing is, like, she's just been trying to work on this thing. And it's been like a little purple, a little blue, a little ugly. So I think they took her to the doctor. Yeah, we took her to the doctor the first week, and they gave her some antibiotics. A stronger antibiotic for the swelling and stuff. So all that went down. And then that's when she tagged her toe that weekend. She slammed her foot against the chair. Slams her foot and it opens up the wound. So my wife buys her a Band-Aid. Y'all know where this is going. I hope you do. If you know anything about science, well, yeah. So she wears this Band-Aid. She goes out. She has a 70s party, 90s bar crawl. So she's dressed up in her little outfit, giddy up. All right, she's cute, whatever. She's out there, but then she goes home. She's like, my foot exploded in my sneaker. And I know it sounds disgusting, people, and it does if you know anything about bacteria and how it festers in certain situations, such as heat and when it's covered. So initially, that's what happened. The bacteria kind of went freaking crazy. And with the bacteria multiplying, just becoming frenetic and multiplying and doing whatever it's doing, attacking her foot, her body, her antibiotics. Her body starts producing more antibiotics to try to fight off this infection because the infection's coming. The bacteria is at work. And so that's causing more pus, and that's what caused her foot to like kind of explode beyond like underneath the actual Band-Aid. Oh my goodness, I'm freaking you guys. Like, that's disgusting. It's totally disgusting. But yes. So it got real bad real fast. So so my wife took her to another doctor, took her to urgent care again. And they were like, oh, why would you do that? So no, wait, scratch that. She went to the ear, mouth, throat doctor, right? For the whole penicillin thing. They said, okay, well, she's going to have those tonsils taken out or she will continue to get sick. She's a carrier. She has an appointment for the ear, nose, ear, mouth, throat doctor, whatever you want to call them. So she's there, and they do a checkup, and they prepare her and give my wife the information. They schedule an appointment, right? And so then my wife is right next to the hospital. So it's like, okay, we're going to go to urgent care. We're going to go to the ER real quick. So they go to the ER. And after waiting there for some time, they say, oh, we're going to admit you. Because they look at her foot and they ask her, my wife, why the hell would you put a Band-Aid on this? My wife is like, I don't know, because I'm not a surgeon. So they admit long story short, they admit my daughter, and then she's there for 5 damn days in the hospital, waiting on doctors. She has to wait for an MRI. She has to go do this, and then last but not least, they do surgery to clean out the wound and clean out some of the skin on the outside, which may or may not have been affected because the MRI was clean, said no real infection traveling up her foot or anything, so she was cool there. But they wanted to get that because there was some skin bubbling up on the outside of it, which may have harnessed some bacteria. So they took that stuff off, and then they cleaned out the wound. And so then, now, lo and behold, a week later after that, she had to get her tonsils out, so now she's all sick. But regardless of all that shit is scary. Shuffle your dang feet. But yeah, stingrays are scary. And that's the story of my daughter in the ocean. So the ocean is scary, people. But you can do other things to stay safe in the ocean. You basically just taking a chance, man. You're just like you're going out in the woods, you get poison ivy. That's shit happens. But all the times my son has been there, my daughter and my wife, the last few times we've been to the beach, nothing but fun. Except for the last time. It's kind of cold out there. And, okay, in other news, there's so much in the news right now about sharks. And I'm just going to read you a list. Here's a weird thing, too, about sharks in the news. What the hell's up with Fox News and sharks? I don't necessarily like Fox News. I don't really. Every time I click over there, I click away. But, sometimes, you have to actually listen and look at those things. But, wow. I have a news feed, and it actually has Fox News within the feed. And it is, over the last month, it's been just inundated with shark attack stories. Let me just read off some titles. Shark attacks 23-year-old at Hawaii beach. A 16-foot great white comes within arm's length of an underwater photographer. Mysterious giant shark tracked by satellites in rare sightings. And this is basically one of those basking sharks. It's like freaking huge. And so I guess you can see it via satellite. And days after a shark attack, town on Cape Cod closes beach to swimmers due to continued, shark activity. And another one, shark drags woman into crocodile-infested waters in Australia. But do you know what the best thing about that is? The best thing about that story is the lady's like, okay, that was my bad. I was in the wrong place. This is their territory. I was in the wrong place. I don't blame the shark. She got maybe a bite mark. And the shit scared out of her. But she respected the nature of the shark. Then she was just like, it was a shark. I was in its territory. I wasn't necessarily supposed to be in this area. And things happen. I do not blame the shark. Now, that is respect right there. That's respecting the animal. So like a damn person, I want somebody to actually, who gets mauled by a damn bear, just say that. Just come out and say, you know what? That was my bad. I wasn't supposed to be there. That damn bear was like, okay, you're not supposed to be here either. And he thought the same as me. And he took it upon himself to make sure that I don't come back. But this is a weird one because, it was back in July. No, late July, where that previous story where on Cape Cod, days after they had a shark attack where man was bitten off of Cape Cod. And that was back in July. But recently, just as recently as like this weekend, this swimmer dies. He was like 300 feet off of Cape Cod. He dies due to a shark attack. So I don't know what the hell's up with Cape Cod. It could have been like the ocean. It could have been something with the oncoming storm, and maybe the sharks moved to different waters. But yeah, this young man, he had to be like, I think in his early 20s. He went out there and he was attacked near He was attacked and died in his mid-20s. Yeah, they don't know why the sharks are, because a lot of that is in shallow waters, 30 feet, 300 feet off the coast, and they can't explain it why there's swimming so close or feeding so close to the shore. But at that point, you just leave the signs up and be like, okay, well, I'm not gonna go to this area. I'm not messing with no sharks around this area. I'm gonna go somewhere else. Or I'm just gonna, this season seems to be a little bit too active with sharks, so I'm just not gonna go do that. Or could have been waters. We don't know. They don't know why, but yeah, this young man out there just swimming. And it's kind of weird because his grandmother said, "Oh yeah, I'm thinking I might get bitten today or something." Like he has some kind of premonition that he might die or that day. It could have been said in jest or something. Maybe she was like, "Oh, be careful, son." He was like, "Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna get bit today. Watch this." Jokingly, earlier that month, a couple months ago, same thing. Off of Cape Cod, a guy gets bitten by a shark. Luckily, he survived, but this time, this guy did not. Pretty sad. So just be careful out there. And I don't know what it is about Fox News and sharks, but yeah, this last one went nationwide though. I saw that nationwide, like on like a lot of different news outlets about the kid in Cape Cod. Be careful of sharks, man. And there's nothing more scarier than just sharks and the ocean, or just the ocean, man. I just don't trust the ocean. Be aware of nature, people. We take it for granted. We don't think it's like, oh, look at it, because everything is so controlled, because we control everything as man. We think we get a little too safe in our space and think, oh, we can just go over there and just chill out. And we can just chill out and just go listen to some things and see some sharks and be okay, and just go out into nature where a lot of these creatures, we're invading upon their space. Be like that lady in Australia and just realize that, this is nature's way of telling us that, hey, we don't belong there. I'm not saying that we can't go swimming and stuff. You just got to be more careful. Just like they said on that news story, just be shark safe. Know some things. But I don't know how you can predict like a shark swimming that close to shore. You're supposed to stay in like waist deep waters. Don't go too far out. And I know I've seen a lot of people over in California when we were there. Just, the lifeguards are like, don't go too far. Even my daughter, way out there, just too far out. And a couple of times, my daughter and my wife, the last 2 visits, they've had the lifeguards come over to them, swim over to them with their little flotation device and ask them, come away from certain area. You're too far out. So a lot of us, sometimes, I think my wife told me like she didn't even know she was that far. So you don't even know how the ocean carries you. So you just have to be careful and know that. Stay above the water. Don't go too deep, because if there's some activity in that area, I would check with the lifeguards and be like, hey, bro, have you seen a shark lady? A shark or anything like that? All right, nah, cool. I'll go in the water then. So, just be safe, you guys. And for another thing, have you ever heard of that damn song? I mentioned it before. It's like this Baby Shark song. Oh my goodness, it's so viral. Talk about earworm. And if you know about earworm, do you know about earworms? This entire week, 2-3 weeks now, my wife would just all of a sudden just break out with Baby Shark. It's such an earworm. And if you don't know what an earworm is, it's just something that keeps playing over and over and over and over and over in your head that you can't freaking get it. You got a song in your head and it just keeps going. And I was actually reading this story. This is the last point of my this, that, and the other news. This earworm, this guy had this jingle stuck in from this restaurant. He had a jingle stuck in his head for 6 years, they say. For 6 years, this jingle just played over and over and over in his head that he could not get rid of it. It just kept going and going and going. So my question is to you, though, like, have you had an earworm like that? Besides this damn Baby Shark song. I've had a few, but I just can't think of it right now. No, yeah, the SpongeBob one. I had one in SpongeBob. It's actually a link. I'll link the episode in here. But SpongeBob had an earworms episode, and my son and my daughter would sing it, and it would just be in my head and just keep going and going and going. Oh my goodness, it was so annoying, but it's so cute. Frozen, that Frozen song, Let It Go. That's an earworm. And when I was working in the movie theater, when that movie came out, it was just constant. If you're waiting outside the doors, you would just hear that Let It Go, Let It Go, Let It Go song, and it would just go home singing it, let it go, let it go, let it go. And it's just like, yeah, okay, I'm going to let it go as I jump off this bridge. So, you guys, my weekly gratitude for this week. And when you're out at the beach, shuffle your feet. This movement scares off the stingray and alerts it before you step on it. And so most likely it'll just kind of skimmer away instead of you stepping on it like my daughter did and it just raising its barb and stinging you. Or like that kid who was boogie boarding, lands on the shark, lies down on the shark and stings him in the pinky, in the wheelie racker. That's not pleasant. So somehow disrupt the area around you before you go over there. Slap at it, step on something, or also water socks. They say water socks help. If you wear water socks out there into the oceans, or if you don't like that squishy stuff on the bottom of the ocean, you don't like feeling that, wear some water socks. Go out there with that stuff on. And, if you happen to step on one, normally what they do, they'll get you in your foot. That will help you. That will it'll get you still, but it probably won't penetrate as deep as, oh my goodness, you should see the cut on maybe I'll post a picture. I'll post a picture on this podcast episode. Actually, that's going to be no, I'm not going to put that. My art might get flagged for something, for being bad. But yeah, just shuffle your feet. Know if you're in shark infested waters, if you think something, don't go too deep. Keep waist high so you know what's going on, so you see things, so you can keep an eye out on some little finnies coming around you, swimming around you, so you can freaking haul ass to shore back to the sand. But other than that, man, I don't know. Ocean's scary. The ocean is scary enough. Sharks are scary, but the ocean is scary enough. I'm done. Brothers never make it out of situations like this, ever. LL Cool J, Deep Blue Sea. That's a wrap for this episode, but it ain't a burrito. Okay, I'm going to actually insert or add this sci-fi clip from episode 3 that we recorded maybe about 3 years ago, with me and Chris coming up with this outlandish idea for a new sci-fi movie starring some kind of hideous creature. Just be forewarned, we curse a lot in this episode. In this 7-minute segment, I dropped so many F-bombs that it's ridiculous. So I'm just warning you now, don't play this around kids, because it's a lot. I might not. It's a lot. So, hey, enjoy this little clip, because I thought it was a hell of a lot of fun, but there is a lot of curse words in this one. So, a little look back at this podcast in its original concept.
Really
give me a recipe. All right, give me a recipe for a sci-fi movie.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
You have to put it. You have to have an animal. All right.
Okay,
so let's go with what's a cool animal?
Naked mole rat.
Naked mole rat. Let's go with that.
We go.
They have hives. They have a queen and they follow the queen. So let's make them giant naked mole rats that live under like New York City or something.
Okay.
In the subway systems. And
they really do exist, actually. It's fucking called rats. Go ahead. Sorry.
But they are destroying New York City from underground, and they have to send in a team of C-list and D-list celebrities. So we need...
Who's our star?
Let's put Kevin Sorbo. Let's have Kevin Sorbo, because I love Kevin Sorbo. All right. And Michael Caine can be in there too.
Oh, okay. Ooh, yeah, okay.
There we go. We'll have those two.
What does he play though?
He can be the mayor. He can be the mayor of New York and be
Okay.
like, I need you, Kevin Sorbo, to kill these naked mole rats. But you have to be dressed up as Hercules.
Wait, are they just naked mole rats, or
They're giants.
are they a high? Oh, they're just giants. They're not a hybrid of any other type of animal.
No, they're just giant naked mole rats with horns coming out of their faces.
And croc jaws. No?
And, yes. Well, actually, they have a really vicious bite already, so.
Yeah, they do. Those fucking crazy ass teeth.
I mean,
they're freaking huge,
like,
man.
they have to dig through the steel and cement.
Yes.
So that would make them even more dangerous right there.
Ooh.
So there we go.
See, now you can't fuck with them.
Yeah.
Now they're coming up through the sewers via the asphalt.
Yep.
And so they're chewing through pipes and stuff and everything. They're
going through apartment buildings, eating people.
Yeah. So
Bring
they can
him-
burrow basically anywhere, and they set up
Kevin Sorbo.
underneath.
Kevin Sorbo has to kill the queen.
Oh,
And the queen
so he has
is-
to go under the subterranean. Said Kevin Sorbo.
Yes, and the queen is like the size of a house.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is she like Jabba?
She's like
down there
Jabba.
sitting all like pregnant and shit.
Yeah, and
she's
like-
about to fucking give birth, and you see just little hatchlings around, and so he has to go through like
Hatchlings.
what the fuck? I don't care.
Babies, cubs.
I don't know. It just seemed more morbid. Just to kill baby real live animals, but okay. Well, he walks down there, right? All right, here we go. He finds like the little din hive or whatever, right? And these little babies, and they're cute. They're fucking adorable when they're like that small. And like
They're like the size of dogs.
And then what does Kevin Sorbo do? You have a soft moment, right? You get that.
You have the pet the dog moment.
Oh, and then the motherfucker burns him.
Yep.
Gasoline. He's like, and you have to do a fake tear. You close in on his eyes, and it's just
That tear.
and his tear just drops down. And it's like, oh yeah, the tear. And then it goes to like him spraying gasoline on all of them, and then woo.
But
The
wait.
mama comes at him, or the mama protector.
But the mama has a protector, and it's Xena. It's Lucy Lawless.
No, can't be that.
Okay, she
We
can be the
love
love
Xena.
interest.
Yeah.
Or she could, or
Oh,
okay.
we can finally unite those two.
Yeah.
Well, a love thing, it'd be like a sci-fi original. All the geeks would love it.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
would. I
Naked
just like
Mole Rat
using-
and Death Kill Squad.
Death Skill Squad. I just like that. I like that premise. But then while he's there, they're wreaking havoc on the city.
So Xena
So
will be up.
you need
up
somebody
in the city,
else. Yes.
and she's protecting the people.
Yes,
there
and
we go.
They send him down there to combat or to defeat the queen, while she's somehow, some way, I don't understand how it happens. But she's in a Xena costume.
Yeah.
I don't understand how. I don't know.
Okay,
Or
wait,
some
wait,
type
wait,
of-
wait. I got
or,
this. I
wait,
got
her
this.
suit pants is just stripped down somehow into like a Xena.
I got this. It's taking place during New York Comic Con.
Ooh,
And that's why
there you
Kevin
go.
Sorbo
There
is
you
dressed
go,
as
man.
Hercules
Yes.
and Lucy Lawless is dressed as Xena. That's why.
Oh my goodness!
There we go.
If you actually do it, film it. You have free extras. We cut down costs because you already have costumes.
Exactly.
Boom, done. Movie.
Bam. Sci-fi,
Naked Mole
contact
Rat
us.
right here. Copyright. Talking with burritos.
I feel like your
Not
movie
Adam.
would be like pretty awesome, except for the fact Kevin Sorbo would think that he's Hercules and he'd go in trying to punch
that's-
like the naked mole rat.
That would be
And
awesome.
therein lies the joke.
And then like
It's part comedy.
10 minutes
You gotta
in,
make fun of
It's
yourself.
like My Name is Bruce, where they thought Bruce Campbell would be able to protect them, but no, it's just Bruce Campbell.
yeah.
like 10 minutes in, and like eat Kevin Sorbo in half, and Xena, like Lucy Lawless, is like, I'm out.
They wouldn't eat Kevin Sorbo. He'll
You can't
like
eat Kevin
okay,
Sorbo.
no, one of them will eat him alive, but then he'll just rip out his way out.
Oh.
Hercules strength.
Like Hercules or like fucking what's his name in Roadhouse.
Yeah,
Patrick Swayze.
Fucking rip out your throat. And it's Kevin Sorbo.
Roadhouse.
And his head comes out like, it's just, And he
This is the
and
best
he's
sci-fi
actually
movie
stuck
ever.
inside the body of this naked mole rat, right? He's stuck inside of it, and so he kind of punches his way out. Boom. He has his hands, his feet, and he's kind of walking around as a naked mole rat.
He
And
is a
uses
naked
him as
mole
a
rat.
disguise
He-
to get
yeah.
past everybody, but then he has to nuke those little babies and get to the mama.
He's like a naked mole rat centaur.
Yes. See? Yeah. See? He's like halfling, so they smell him like because they're blind.
Exactly, they're blind.
They're
They
fucking
use
blind.
sense of smell.
And he has lamps around them. He brings like a flashlight lamp, so they can't see, and so they don't know. They just know his scent.
Exactly, and so he has to be in the blood and in the
Yes.
body of one.
Yeah,
There
and
we
that's how he gets close. That's how he even gets close. And so you see all these naked mole rats looking around, like ready to attack, to go up, and he's like walking past them, and they're like sniffing around, sniffing around, sniffing around. One of them stops, and right up in his face, and you get the close up of the buck teeth. And
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Sorbo, he's right up.
Fucking
next to
Aliens
the-
3 style.
Yeah. Well, because they always have to be based on something. So
Yeah.
we would have to go aliens with
Of
this
course.
one.
I don't see why not.
Yeah, so that's how he saw burning all the hats.
Because you got the
little
queen
babies
and you got
stuff.
the baby
Yeah.
hatchlings. Exactly.
Movie done.
Copyright everyone but Adam.
Yes, because he didn't say shit. You
I'll
don't
make
get
one with
you don't get
platypus.
royalty, bitch. We gets all the money.
Yeah, rolling naked in the money.
I'll make a sequel of
I
Platypus.
wonder. I bet you. All you have to do is go through the internet, find some pictures of Kevin Sorbo as Hercules and Xena and Lucy Lawless. You can and some naked mole rats. We can make a movie poster.
Oh yeah,
for this episode.
Oh yeah.
I will get on that.
All right.
I'm kind of bored, but I can do it.
Adam, you said.
Oh, we can
platypus
put Adam
therapy.
in it. Put him on the green screen. We can put him in it, like
and make him
he could
dead.
He could be like running, like in the foreground, like running away.
No,
Let's
he's
do
in, one of
that.
he's in one of the mouths of the naked mole rats because he was talking
Oh,
shit.
yeah. Oh, we gotta get a picture of a naked mole rat, like kind of.
Oh, we can do that easy.
Could.
It's called Google.